Hey everyone, it's Addibloom here. I'm interested in all things fairy tale and fantasy, and tonight I'll be playing through TechnoSorcery, a fantasy-themed rhythm game. So let's play through together, shall we? Let me just go ahead and pull up my chat just in case anybody pops in. Okie dokie. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So I went ahead and I played the beta version of this game. And I think that this game officially came out in March, so it's pretty recent. It's just an indie game. It's like narrative themed or narrative driven. So let's go ahead and go through together. All I'm saying is that it's time to move on. Cast down your burden and begin anew. A face briefly flutters past your mind's eye, an old memory, not a pleasant one. I know. I said I wouldn't talk about it again, but that was over a year ago, and you're still moping. Oh, and do we always do what we say, Weren't you the one that said that they would make an effort? Besides, I'm just a small floating spirit that no one else can see. For all we know, I'm just some part of your mind that split off after the incident. Yes, I most certainly am beautiful and intelligent as well, but don't think you can flatter your way out of things anymore. I may have started as a glowing blob, but my memory has become quite bright. I'm not so easily distracted by forest rodents and the wind moving through the tall grass, and I certainly no longer think fireflies and campfire embers are my kin. Of course I still dance with them sometimes. My sharp mind hasn't left me without my sense of fun. Speaking of which, Mr. Funbags, I'm not saying you have to draw a line in the sand and never look back. Your memories are what define you. Let them give you strength. Decide your path and harness your pain. Use it as fuel to burn your way into a new purpose. I don't know. That's for you to decide. I'm just the simple-minded ember-dancing spirit, right? How about this? I'll make you a deal. You get to mope right up until the world gives you a strong sign. When that sign comes, you follow it. Agreed? He's like the quintessential silent protagonist. Great! And besides, it's not like anything ever happens in a place this remote anyways. You'll probably be fine for years. A few hours later, a stranger approaches. Oh, well, hello. I was beginning to think I had chosen the wrong fork in the path. That signpost was in a terrible state. I've seen back alley ends with better penmanship. Yes, well, great day for a journey at least. Normally I would love to gather knowledge from the locals, and no doubt you have an abundance of that, but I have a rigid timeline. How far to Blue Meadow? Okay then. Shy type, Or the strong silent type, of course. You men with your illusions. Nearly as strong as any we cast back at the Arcanum. You open your mouth and reveal all that is left of your tongue. Oh, my apologies. I didn't realize you were mute. Quite the manly scar you have. If it had been recent, I might have been able to heal it a tad better. Of course, your vocabulary would still be quite limited. Maybe some wormroot would have helped with that. Sorry, I'm rambling again. Habit I acquired from doing research for too long, I would guess. No, I don't suppose you can write. I have a paper and a self-inking pen. They are all the rage among the professors right now, and the students that can afford them. He certainly can write, although I don't think it would be much help. He really is the silent type at heart now, and it doesn't help that few travelers come this way. And by few, I mean none. It's lonely. Clearly startled, the stranger is quick to create a magical barrier around herself, with a reaction speed you would not have expected from a university professor. You are now certain she could handle herself during any encounters her travel may offer. She stares at your companion for a brief instant and lowers the barrier nearly as fast. Spren! I was definitely not expecting one of your kind out here. Nearly firebolted you back to the ether. But this is great news. Your master must be nearby. Would you kindly fetch him for me? I don't know about master, but I follow Aiden around everywhere. That's strange. You're quite certain you two are the only ones out here? Would I lie about being stuck with this lout? He's not exactly the best at conversation. Yes, well, how odd. You see, Spren are already rather rare, but they also require sorcery to maintain. Does this mean our silent chum here is a sorcerer? Or is it me? Am I the sorcerer? No, and probably not. You see, sorcery requires many things. Intellect, willpower, being in tune with the source and feeling the rhythm of its energy. Most people have each of those to some degree, but the one thing that is an absolute must is verbal incantations. Sorcery is channeled through the words of power, shaped, aligned, and carefully crafted to express the caster's will. And your friend? Yeah, no words of power are coming out of him. Right. Although I currently lack a better explanation. I have an idea. A simple little test to put this to rest. It will only take a few minutes. Is it dangerous? Does it require fire? Or part of his soul? Most certainly not. It is the same test administered to every bright-eyed initiate hoping to express their innate power. And to be quite frank, I doubt anything will happen at all. Well then, he says yes. Do your sorcery thing. Okay, let's start with the basics. So this is a typing game. You're going to be using the home keys on the keyboard, ASDF on your left hand, and JKL semicolon on your right hand. There are times when you're going to have to press the keys according to what pops up on screen, and sometimes you'll have to do it to the beat. We'll kind of move forward from there. So sorcery harnesses the 8 elements, 4 primal elements and 4 celestial elements. Let's first see how you are at channeling the primal elements. So we've got earth, nature, water, fire, ASDF. Not bad at all. Let us try the celestial elements next. I kind of forgot what these are. Dark, light, arcane, cosmic. Dark, light, arcane, cosmic. Cool. Well, you certainly have the ability to absorb elements. Rarely will you find them that orderly, though, or that slow-moving. I'll stop restricting them and let the energy flow a bit more naturally. So with these, you just need to kind of press them as fast as possible before the time limit runs out. You don't need to press them like when they reach the end, just as soon as possible. Now for the moment of truth, let's try a few simple first-tier spells. I'm not exactly sure how you are going to do this without verbal commands, but I'll show you the element sequences and see if you can figure something out. So these you'll have to do to the beat, and you can see at the top there's like beat 1, beat 2, and then you have half notes in between. So you just kind of hold these for one note. F, F, D, D, F, D. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. More. F, A, D, D, S. They'll first appear inactive, and then like once the square zones in on them, then they'll be activated. Basically when they have, They start registering slightly before the square really closes in. Oh shit. I had to do it to the beat. Well, that settles it. I'm not sure if we can call him a sorcerer, but he definitely has access to magical abilities. Fascinating. Simply fascinating. This could create new research for years to come. I'll be honest, he's at a significant disadvantage, but he has a shot at passing the Arcanum entrance exam, and I must admit that I would love to learn more about him. If he decides to make the trip, tell the Magisters that Cynthia sent them, so he might be like the Beethoven of sorcerers, because he sort of has like accessibility issues when it comes to his, particular skill. But it looks like he has some potential that other people might not have. Your stony expression is gone, and in its place is an intensity that you haven't felt in years. Now that's a look I can relate to. As much as I would like to continue this discussion, I really must continue my journey. Work calls, and judging by the rapidly shrinking size of this road, I'm guessing I have to make up for lost ground and take the other fork, yes? Yes. Until we meet again. I hope. Don't give me that look. I did not sense her coming. Would I try and trick you like that, knowing that a sign was already on its way down the road? What do spirits have if not honor? Right, and the only honorable thing to do is to get you out of your moping. Besides, how was I supposed to know that she would be a sorcerer offering you a chance at the Arcanum? The Arcanum! Not some third-rate library with a handful of sorcerers, and for all I know, she could have just been some farmer's wife needing an extra hand with the harvest. Or a cup of butter. Yes, a well-dressed farmer's wife with runic symbols embroidered on her clothes. It could be her hobby, or she could be the village artist. You don't know. I know, but you love me anyway. To the Arcanum! There I am, number 9. Not bad. Out of how many? 29. Cool. Now that's a sight to see. That Cynthia stranger was legit. This sure beats our little cottage in the hills. Yes, it was a perfectly fine cottage. You have excellent stonemason skills, and it served us well for a couple years, but it was lacking people. People, Aiden. It's time to meet a few. No, those bandits we avoided on the road here didn't count, and I'm still terribly sorry about that, but you have to actually interact with them for it to count. Well, no, I guess it was a good choice not to engage bandits in dialogue, but you're missing the point. It doesn't even have to be people. Find a hobby, a passion, a friend. Learn something new. Anything that isn't moping in the woods. And now here's a wonderful opportunity thanks to yours truly. Don't look so excited.
Yes, come in. Hurry up. You're mute. I know. I've been informed. It's bad enough getting stuck with exam duty this year when I could be spending my precious time on something more becoming of a council member sorcerer, but now they have me testing mutes as well. This should be amusing.
And I thought you were cranky when we ran out of bread rations on the way here. This guy is way too full of himself. Do your sorcery thing.
I suppose we should start with some basics. Quickly now, if you please.
You receive a not-so-convincing smile that doesn't quite reach the man's eyes.
Yes, well, the elements are rarely so orderly. You'll have to think on your feet. Yes, all well and good. You can absorb the elements. That doesn't make you a sorcerer. Let's try for some spells.
The man pauses a moment, clearly agitated.
One final test. This time you'll have to produce a spell of slightly higher tier.
At this point, Cynthia, who must have clearly been watching from the hallway, steps into the room. It is highly unusual for a new student, let alone an examinee, to produce a spell of that caliber.
Cynthia, so glad for you to join us. The recruiter herself. Irregular may be, but well within my rights as an examiner. You know the rules. Now, on with the final test.
Cynthia throws her hands up in exasperation. You are grateful for her coming to your aid, but it is clearly up to you now. So this is kind of where you get to half notes. FDSA. JJ, semicolon, KKLL. Bam bam boom boom.
How in 9 levels of Abaddon's Tower? Well, yes, those spells were still in their most basic form. Try these instead.
By now the vein on Professor Quibley's head is bulging in apparent frustration. You brace yourself for what is to come. So yeah, this is kind of a preview of like, oh, you actually have to start memorizing these. I don't think you're meant to actually get all of those. But that's kind of what the game is actually going to build up to is all of these different key combinations do a spell, and eventually you're going to need to memorize the keys in that spell without any aid. But he was kind of like throwing you into the deep end. But I like how it kind of gives you a preview of what this game is all about. We both can tell that no trickery was involved. The elements were clearly entering his body and then ordering themselves precisely into the spells that you asked for, some of which were at a complexity and speed far beyond the capacity of a new student. Then would you care to explain how this ruffian managed to go against 500 years of sorcery dogma and create spells without words of power? Just think of it. If I could cast spells just by feeling them, so many doors would be unlocked, countless restrictions that we have unnecessarily put on ourselves would be lifted. Surely someone more talented would have encountered this long ago. How? I have no clue, but it would take a master sorcerer accomplice to fake something like this, and you are the only master I sense within several hundred feet at this time. No matter, I don't have the time for this. Our prestigious courses are quick to weed out the no talents anyway, and if he is faking it, the truth is bound to come out. You, Aiden, take this admission broom to the quartermaster. It bears my approval of admittance. Welcome to the Arcana, and my watchful eye. He's really not that bad, just cranky and adverse to change. Arthritis can do that. I don't even need your spren to interpret that look. Yes, okay, he is pretty bad, but at least he isn't evil. I'm glad I decided to oversee your exam, though. I suspected something like this might happen, but I was also curious to see more of your spellcasting either way. What you managed to accomplish was incredible. Like Professor Quibley said, your abilities would unlock quite a few doors. I have to admit, my reasons for inviting you to the Arcanum were not entirely unselfish. I would be quite grateful to learn more about your power. If at any point you desire additional training, I would be more than happy to provide additional guidance and mentorship beyond the scope of your classes. Welcome to the Arcanum, Initiate. Oh, number 4. Pretty good. Not as good as music. Heart music. So cute. I'll take it. Spellbook granted. Yeah, so this is where you can go and study up on some of the spells that have come up in the game so far, and it looks like we have a few advanced ones that came up. But yes, onward and onward. So this is the Arcanum. This is actually pretty cool because it acts as a tutorial of the game based on what I remember from the beta. So let's go through the narrative. Yeah, I don't like anything about that man either. He is petty and entitled, but at least we gained a lady friend admirer. Yes, in a completely platonic context, of course. Not that it would hurt you to flirt a little. I know, I won't start talking about her and what happened again. I'm just glad that you're out there expanding your horizons, and you seem more energized than I've seen you in a while. Who wouldn't be, though? Just look at this place. It looks like it's filled with knowledge over centuries. Ancient tomes and scrolls, arcane artifacts, power crystals, not to mention the people and tools to hone one's craft. Is that a hint of wonder on your face? Possibly excitement? Once we finish exploring a bit, let's pick out what you want to study. Or take up Cynthia on her offer at supplementary training. We will make a sorcerer out of you yet, Aiden. You stare off into the distance, lost in thought. Something about this place feels right. For the first time in years, you turn your gaze just a bit forward, just a bit to a new purpose. The bonds of loss and guilt loosen their grip ever so slightly. Yeah, so this is where it splits up and starts to put you onto different, course tracks. So let's start with Artificing. I think this is Cynthia's class. Welcome! Come in, come in. I'm so glad you decided to reach out to me. That's his excitement face, I promise. He can have a bit of a resting wizard face sometimes. Right, well, let's dive into it then. I'm going to push your abilities to the limit with Artificing. It is widely accepted as one of the most powerful complex magical arts, as it requires intricate weaves of verbal incantations to create powerful artifacts. These artifacts vary in ability based on many factors, such as the skill of the caster, the time spent crafting them, and the materials involved. A well-crafted artifact may take years to create, but last for centuries, and have the power to establish an empire or kingdom. In fact, this very university was founded by a master artificer, and still heavily relies on the teleportation control protocol, TCP network, that he created. But even basic artifacts require rare skills to create, and most sorcerers lack the ability to create them. This scarcity and complexity makes any half-good artificer revered for their talent, and highly sought after by anyone with a coin or good relations. Sylvan is a bit distracted by magical dust motes waging a small war in the corner of the room, but you can feel your own intensity growing as Cynthia talks. Now, the key word here is verbal. Artificers rely on lengthy, verbose weaves of magical elements during the process. They often must improvise to intertwine the phoneme in words in order to keep elements at a stable state. Just uttering textbook words would cause a certain amount of drift between the elements, and they wouldn't combine quite in the desired state. Now, for most schools of magic, this would be okay. Take a simple steam spell, for instance. Too much fire or water would just produce hotter or wetter steam. But if you wanted that steam to form in a pattern to be used as an artifact, just the right combination is essential. Additionally, words must often be repeated many times when inevitable drift occurs. This happens even with the best artificers, and is the reason why some artifacts take so long to make. Sylvan has started her own crusade against the dust motes, and they seem to have formed a temporary alliance to defend her assault. What Cynthia is telling you makes sense. Side note, long explanations like this also make me distracted by other things in the environment. But getting back to it, what Cynthia is telling you makes sense, and you are growing excited to try your hand at it. Now, I have a theory I want to try out with you, but enough talk. Let's dive into having you create something simple. I would like you to make me a steel sphere out of these lumps of materials. Engrave the sphere with these runes and elements to cause it to glow and float in the air. A glorified lamp, if you will. The faster you cast a spell, the stronger it will be. You must visualize each spell in your mind if you're to succeed. Yep, that's where they start to bring in some symbols. Still going with the whole notes though. Bum 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 bum. Okay. Yeah, one of the things that I struggled with in this game before was being ambidextrous. So you can do two spells on different hands at the same time. I think, let me see if I can do it on the same hand. See, it doesn't really work that well when I'm trying to do it simultaneously with keys on the same hand. But I could do those two together because they're on the opposite hands. Not sure why that is, but I'm gonna try to get used to that. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. My best hopes were for a sloppy success at best, but this... Cynthia has lost her words as a perfect glowing sphere hovers before you, softly lighting up the entire room. That is enough for today. You must be taxed. Come find me when you wish to try something a bit more advanced. Cynthia looks away, deep in thought. Take a look at the leaderboard. Where am I? Oh, there I am. Number 6. I'll take it. I think when I first played through this, it was pretty regularly for me to get somewhere between 6 and 10. So breaking the top 5 is kind of where I'd like to be at. So from here you can do Quibley's chorus. I think this is Quibley's. So I'm going to go into that one. Welcome everyone to Adept Summoning. For those of you who have not yet heard of me, I am Professor Quibley. It appears that we have some promising candidates this semester. I see quite a few faces from the major houses, and a few not so promising candidates. I have no doubt in your minds,
Summoning is one of the more dangerous arts, but you need not fear while I'm around, as I will banish any mishaps. Know this, though. Any student lacking in sufficient control and willpower will be swiftly removed from my course. I will not have your shortcomings causing danger to you or the students around you, and I have a reputation to uphold.
Well, he cares about safety, so that's something.
Let us begin.
He gestures to a large ephemeral sphere hovering about a circular pedestal. Inside the sphere, you can vaguely make out slow-moving, glowing silhouettes. So this game is interesting because it's kind of like an interactive novel, I would say. Like, they give you visual cues of like the characters and the environments, but there's like a lot of details that are kind of left up to your imagination, which, video games these days are pretty advanced at being able to explain everything that's happening in the environment. But the simplicity of this game definitely makes you kind of like rely on your imagination like you would with a book, and I kind of like that. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I kind of like it.
I have in my possession a minor pocket dimension. It is capable of holding a few minor imps and other worldly beings. Normally we would summon directly from the other worlds, but that poses a risk that some other being could slip through if the summoner lacks skill. This allows for us to summon directly from the pocket without such risks. You will have the entire class today to attempt just that. Behind me on the board are all the verbal incantations and diagrams required for the summoning. To demonstrate, we will have Aiden give his best attempt for us. He demonstrated solid abilities during the exam and should have no trouble making at least some progress. Professor Quibbly gives you a flat, cold stare that doesn't match the polite smile on his face. He's clearly looking for an opportunity to see you fail in front of your peers. Guess we gotta show him how it's done. Yeah, so for this one, mod keys. So you kind of have to hold one of the keys. So I'm holding down F and pressing J. I don't think it needs to be to the beat, which is good. Just like whenever I can manage to do it. So hold and press. Hold green, press yellow. Hold A, press J. Hold A, press K. And actually now you're doing it with like spells. I kind of like doing it to the beat anyways because it gives me some like order. Yeah, this is definitely like a new spin on rhythm games. I'd say it's like a little bit more open-ended in a way because you don't need to press the notes at exact times. It's really just getting like the right combination and sometimes the right timing. So I'm usually, oh shoot. No, there's time limit. Okay, but this time I don't, okay, I gotta remember I don't have to adhere to the, just get it done as fast as possible. I gotta do it while I can. Oh gosh, blue, yellow, oh gosh. So I'm usually pretty awkward on a keyboard. Like I still kind of have to look at my hands when I'm type. So like I'm like, I get tangled up with my fingers a lot, but I can tell, you know, the first time I was playing through this game, I could tell it was actually making me a little bit more comfortable on the keyboard. But yeah, we'll see how I do. You look around and see mostly nods and smiles of approval from your peers. A few with puzzled looks at your lack of verbal incantations, a few more still looking down their noses at you with envy written on their face. Surprisingly, you look over to see Professor Quibbly with a smug look on his face. Yes, this is exactly what I was warning you all about. 2 more imps managed to slip through
Oh, slip through the pocket. So I think I like summoned more imps than I was supposed to.
Clearly lacking in concentration, this lack of skill is dangerous when summoning is involved, probably due to the lack of verbal casting. As this is something that can't be overcome, I have no choice but to remove you from my course. So he's ableist. For sure. Permanently.
But Professor, he was clearly in control. Your classmate stops short at a cold gaze from Professor Quibbly, clearly outraged at this injustice, but not wanting to risk getting on the professor's bad side on the first day of class. Instead of giving Professor Quibbly any satisfaction, you decide to simply nod and leave the room. You realize you would be better off continuing this particular subject on your own. As you abruptly get up to leave, you see the smug look on Professor Quibbly's face waver. Leaderboard. Number 7. Yeah, I definitely missed some notes there. But yeah, kudos to everybody who got pretty good scores. Looks like you did better than the team leader. Evocation. Professor Elantu. I think I like her classes, from what I remember. That looks like everyone. Yes, come in, find a seat. I'm so glad you have all chosen me to be your instructor for evocation studies. She seems nice. Way better than that Professor Quibbly guy. Evocation is conceptually more simple than other schools of magic. It involves quickly manipulating raw elements to achieve a primal effect. Instead of finely mixing elements to produce artifacts or summoning imps, the elements are kept mostly separate. Gusts of wind, orbs of flames, and bolts of lightning, for example. While other schools of magic require patience and a keen mind, evocation requires more precise timing and quick action. You can think of it like dancing in the magical world. You look around and see a bunch of youths eager to shoot beams of fire out of their fists. So it seems more like physical, like sportsy magic. As with all magic, we will start slow, and each of you will advance to more complicated spells when you can demonstrate full control of what you are given. It wouldn't be unheard of to spend an entire semester practicing with gusts of wind. You look around again to see the shattered dreams of thunderbolts and fire rays. Behind me on the wall are a variety of beginner incantations. Begin practicing at your own pace. You can't help but feel as if Professor Elantu lingers her gaze on you for just a second. Maybe word of you has spread. You feel a strange high akin to a good workout. Once you have tried your hand at each of the incantations, Professor Elantu makes her way over. Well done, Aiden. We call what you are feeling post-evocation elation. You demonstrated not only control, but also restraint with the given incantations. Based on your abilities, you could have easily amplified those spells a bit further. I admit I talked a bit with Cynthia, and I must say she was right about you. Your strange ability at silent incantations is quite fascinating to observe. You give a look that says that you are uncomfortable with your newfound infamy. Worry not. Cynthia and I are quite close. We have stayed friends since our first class together at this very Arcanum. Only she and I know the full extent of your curious abilities. Speaking of which, and based on the skill you just demonstrated, you are welcome to start training with me after class. I regularly practice evocation in this courtyard to maintain my control over all forms of spells. You give her a gracious nod and a smile. You can tell this is a rare opportunity, and you look forward to seeing what else she can teach you. Whenever I do her classes, I'm like, I'm so good at this game, but I still only got like 3 stars. 6 isn't bad though. Definitely take it. back to Cynthia. Ah, so nice to see you again. Now that I have witnessed a taste of your true potential, let's step it up a notch. While the floating light you created last time would fetch a good price at any local market, I think we should try something a bit more interesting. Before you lies an assortment of somewhat rare materials, gold and other various metals, a few power cores and crystals, several different types of stone and powders, and even a bit of silver toad slime. I'm not sure about the going rate of silver toad slime, but these look expensive. Not that I don't have great faith in my bud here, but yes, quite right, but no worries. Even a failure will provide tremendous insight. In fact, this is what I expect. If Aiden were successful in this, the resulting artifact would be worth at least 100-fold the cost of materials. But I won't ruin the surprise. Here are the schematics and spell symbols for the artifact's creation. Have at it. Sometimes spells can be fickle based on environmental factors. This can cloud your mind. You must stay sharp. So these are kind of easy because you can use like the pictures, and the colors in the pictures as a cue. So that's what Earth, right? And they're each the same, just 2 whole notes of whatever element that they actually are. So these are pretty easy to remember, I think. F, F, J, J, L, L, D, 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 D. Sometimes it's like I think I'm on the beat, but not always. That's it. Now try for memory only. K, K, A, A, L, L, S, S. So that's nature. What's that? Cosmic? Light. Water, nature, cosmic, I think. I forget what pink is actually about. Call it love, because it starts with an L. Cynthia has a blank stare on her face. You begin to wonder if you did something wrong, but everything about that incantation felt right. Before you floats a beautiful, ornate object, no bigger than your hand. It pulses lightly in pale blue light. You peer closer and see all the fine runic details so carefully engraved. You even got crazy and added a few inspirations of your own that made perfect sense to you in the moment, although now you have a hard time recalling why. I have no idea how exactly you do what you do, but it is extraordinary. Hardly any elemental drift, improvisation, great amounts of efficiency. This object should have taken you days. I was expecting to stop you at the hour and continue over multiple sessions. Right, so what did we make? Yes, you made a seeker, and a very fine one at that. Fancy! What does it seek? Gold and other precious metals. Simply touch a bit of the desired metal to it, and it attunes to that metal, showing you the locations of nearby sources. Here. She touches her thin gold ring to the seeker. It begins pulsing a faint gold glow. Slowly, tendrils of soft gold light expand from the seeker. The tendrils vary in size and brightness and weave off in many different directions. A bright, tiny tendril points directly back to her ring. The Arcanum goes through quite a lot of such metals for use in magical components. They are highly conductive of magical energies, you see. All the communication pylons have a core of pure silver, for instance. The quartermaster will be in my good graces for life, I would think. Sounds like we need to kick it up another notch, am I right? Indeed. Soon you will be off on your own adventures, but I should think we have enough time for one more experiment to push your limits just a bit more. Nothing dangerous, of course, just something a tad more ornate. Come find me again when you wish to continue. She becomes lost in thought again, gazing at your creation. You will have a difficult time parting with it, not due to the monetary value, but simply because the object you made feels like it's a part of you, like a little piece of your creative soul summoned from the ether. Ooh, 4 stars. I rarely ever get... Ooh, top 5. I broke the top 5. Oh, I did better than the team member. Cool. Oh, there's fewer people. Ooh, people dropped out of the Arcanum. It happens. Let's go back to summoning. You find a cozy private spot in the library. There are numerous training rooms to read and practice spells. You are surrounded by books on summoning and are currently poring through diagrams on minor spirit beasts. Sylvan is dancing around in the corner, giggling to herself. Ha! I still can't get over that look on Professor Quibley's face, the way you just walked out without caring about remaining in his class. Mwah! Chef's kiss. I am just a wee bit frustrated that he potentially tarnished your reputation, but I agree with your decision. You will learn much faster from these dusty old books than from that dusty old man. Why, yes, that is very mature reasoning of mine. I suppose you are rubbing off on me a bit. But honestly, Aiden, I feel more and more solid when I'm around you, less scatterbrained. Aw, stop. I'm spirit blushing. So what you got, Let's see some of those books learning skills in action. You can only prep so much. Now seems like as good a time as any. You have been staring at the same diagrams for over an hour. Time to prove that self-learning really was the best way to go. I still find myself kind of like having to reference both the left and right panels. But my goal is to kind of like internalize where all of these buttons are. I mean, they do kind of like correspond to the placement on the keyboard, so it's not that bad. Like, for whatever reason, it's just, I'm like slightly slow. I think that your multiplier goes down if you get things wrong, so... Or maybe if you go too slow, I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter though. I feel like as long as you like pass the level, that's the accomplishment. Shoot, I got off a little bit, so now it's like a domino effect, like, and I can't get any of them. Oh shoot. Summoning successful. A small tiger-like creature with a thick mohawk down his spine sits before you. The creature is no bigger than your arm. It is pulsing a pale blue color. It cocks its head to the side, looking up into your face. Wow, he's cute. Can we keep him? The creature spews an icy cold gust of wind at Sylvan, knocking her into the corner. I retract my statement. Let's see what else you can pull from the ether. With a wave of your hand, the creature fades back to where it came from. Number 5. Even though I kind of like failed at the end there. I guess I didn't like fail, which is good. You enter the room to see Professor Alantu performing a simple wind spell. You can see tiny tendrils weave their way around her in an elegant rhythmic pattern. Despite the simplicity of the spell itself, you can tell this is the work of a master. I'm glad you decided to join me. I was just in the middle of an incantation. Come, stand next to me and copy my movements. As for the verbal part, well, do your silent equivalent. I have no doubt you can figure it out. Straight down to business. I like her more and more. Sylvan floats over next to Professor Lantu and strikes a playfully similar pose. So I think that even if you go like a little bit early, that also kind of damages your multiplier up in the upper right hand corner. I think that's how people get points, just advancing their sorcery multiplier and then just continuing to do well, just comboing, getting things done fast. I think that's the way to get points in this game. So we're focusing a lot on the left hand right now. I kind of find myself like wanting a mix of both because this is really helping me remember the positions of the keys on the left hand. But I still need to do the right hand as well. After several hours of various magical weaves, Professor Alantu signals to stop. You're both glistening with sweat and literally glowing from residual magical energy. I think that is enough for today. Normally I would stop sooner, but I couldn't help seeing the extent of your abilities. You seem to have a natural affinity for most of the elements, although you possibly struggle with light. Professor Alantu looks lost in thought for a second. In any case, you did quite well. You demonstrated consistent control, and were quick to learn the patterns that I showed you. In fact, I felt like you were constantly waiting for me to catch up to you. It would appear that your lack of verbal requirements allows you to flow much more quickly through the spells. Simply wonderful. I am confident that it would be safe to proceed to some more advanced weave next time. Come seek me out again at your leisure. 4 stars. I wonder what it takes to get 5 stars. Like if you need to be perfect? Glory be. Well done. Better than the team members. I am number 7. Back to Cynthia. Ah, my favorite student. She has a faint glimmer in her eyes, betraying an almost childish excitement as you usually only see in Sylvan. The final trial, not nearly as many materials this time, just a more complicated incantation. It should truly test the limit of your abilities. Before you lies a few metal wires and ingots and a couple different kinds of stone cubes. There are also a few sheets of parchment with symbols for the incantation, but this time there is no schematic for the desired artifact. Yeah, exactly what are we making this time? Whatever it is that inspires you, try to incorporate as many materials as you can and make it as intricate as possible. The spells will determine the abilities of the artifact, so don't worry about creating something crazy. If my observations of your last creations are correct, your aptitude for improvisation and creativity will define the potency of this particular artifact. Whenever you are ready. All other thoughts drain from your head. Right now, all you can think about is the potential for what lies to be made. I like how the images give visual cues, so when they start doing like a mix of 2 different colors in the spells, you usually see those colors reflected in the images. So yeah, also they'll use like something that belongs to that world, like nature. We'll usually there was that one blue and green image that was a flower, so that seems to obviously fit into nature. So the spells kind of give you visual cues, and yes, you have to memorize them, but there's also some recognition involved, so I think that makes it a little bit easier. Incredible. I think I'm starting to see a pattern. It looks like the bond with your spren is definitely connected to your abilities. How, though? I'm not exactly sure. How did you two meet again? You stare off into space, dark memories unfolding in your head. The elation of a successful spell cast begins to fade. That's a touchy subject. Let's just say that a couple years ago I was suddenly in Aiden's life, and I have no memories before that day. My apologies, although I should have suspected. Bonds with spren are formed over unusual circumstances. In any case, you have given me plenty to think about for my new research project, so for that I sincerely thank you, and you definitely have a future as an artificer, if that is the path you choose to pursue. Well, go on, pick up your creation. It's yours now. A little gift for all of your help. Your attention comes back to the small crystal sphere before you. Inside are swirling patterns of delicately woven metal. Sylvan squats down next to it and peers closely at eye level. Pretty! Is it a fancy cat toy? Not quite. This is a teleportation stone. The quality determines the number of uses, the range of travel, and the mass of objects being teleported. This one looks like it has a couple uses, could reach across the continent, and could transport several people, I would say. Very fine work, Aiden. Aw, but I enjoy the adventures and walking. Well, yes, hovering, I suppose. I see your point. You carefully scoop it up and place it in your pocket. This will surely come in handy someday. Hey, I keep doing better and better on these levels. I'm number 3, better than a team member. I feel like I'm really getting it. I just wonder if like 5 stars are at all possible. But I mean, 4 stars definitely feels like an accomplishment. What about a dragon? Can we do a dragon? They are so cool with their scales and wings and muscle, and they look so wise and confident. I suppose this library room is a bit tiny for that, and flammable, but maybe a small dragon? A dragon may be a bit much, but your sights are currently pretty high. You have been studying a rare book on water demons for the last several hours. You're pretty confident you understand the process for conjuring them and are still a little fuzzy on how to control them. Well, whatever you decide, let's hop to it. You have a terrible habit of overanalyzing things, Aiden. You concede she may be right and decide to give it a try. Okay, so they just kind of like throw you in on this one. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm just... I like how there's like a little bit of lead time to... Come on. What? Oh my goodness. I felt like my buttons were sticky or something. But yeah, there's like a little bit of lead time to get the button you want to hold down, which is good. You can tell I'm kind of like, when I talk during these levels, I can tell I'm kind of messing myself up. Before you, floating in the air, is a fist-sized, fish-looking creature with unnaturally intelligent eyes. See? No problem. But why go through all the trouble to summon a little snack? Those intelligent eyes suddenly become menacing little slits and begin glowing deep red. Without warning, the room suddenly becomes filled to the ceiling with water, but instead of flowing away, it just hangs in place all around you. Sylvan is fine, but you will quickly drown unless you do something. The water suddenly vanishes. Your incantations seem to work. The demon fish is nowhere to be seen. Yes, well, then next time I say you overanalyze things, feel free to promptly ignore me. Soaking wet and gasping for breath, you definitely agree. Now you just have to explain to the librarian why the books were ruined. Number 5. Ooh, we're dropping out a little bit. Looks like there's a high dropout rate out of the Arcanum. Evocation. As you enter the courtyard, instead of seeing Professor Alantu in the middle of a spell, she instead is sitting in a meditative pose, radiating a faint glow of energy. She stirs as you approach. Good timing. I was just working on improving my energy reserves. A trick I can show you sometime. But for now, I am all charged up for a fresh session. Hopefully I can keep up with you this time. We will try something a tad more intense. Fall in line, initiate. The next level of your training begins now. Maybe we'll do the left hand this time. Sorry, the right hand. There they are. Yeah, these I haven't internalized as much. Like, I forget where on the keyboard some of these colors are. I was pressing the wrong key. Ambidextrous. Her levels make me feel like I'm so good at this game. Unlike the last session, you both barely make it an hour before becoming drained with the exertion. Next level of training indeed. Both exhausted and invigorated, you can still feel the elements at your fingertips. Fantastic. A few of your weaves could use a little work, but that will come quickly with practice. Your overall speed and concentration remain top-notch. Frankly, I'm astounded at what you have accomplished in so little time. Thanks, Professor Alantu. He says thank you for the training. He could not have accomplished so much this quickly from reading books alone. He also says you are beautiful when you weave. Just kidding. He thinks you're always beautiful. Now he's giving me the why do I put up with you face. It's because you love me, Aiden. I love her, though. And here I thought I was going to get 4 stars. Okay, but I'm number 3, though. I felt like top 5 that time. I just felt like I was getting them instantaneously, which makes me kind of... I mean, I got almost 4 stars. So, I guess that explains that. Wait. Did I do all these? Oh, I did. You are surrounded by an assortment of old books and a few minor artifacts you picked up from the library, but you stopped paying attention to them hours ago. An idea is starting to form in your head. An impossible idea. You really loved her, didn't you? You snap out of your thoughts, a stab of pain from a fresh emotional wound. Sylvan is in an uncharacteristically serious mood. I've been with you a while now, Aiden. I can read your expressions even when you don't share your thoughts. Your powers are growing. They will provide you with many options that you didn't have before. The path in your mind is a long one and may not yield what you desire. But if it's what you decide, I'm here for you, always. You are certain that you could not do this without Sylvan. Your bond with her is beyond words, even if she can be a butt sometimes. Then follow your heart. Once you graduate, let us quest for the revenge that you seek, for her sake. You can't quite explain it to Sylvan, but you think it may be more than just revenge. With your newfound powers, you can feel a hint of something else, something related that needs to be brought to light. Either way, Sylvan is right. You may just be strong enough to attempt something that you would have never considered before. Cute room, though. Okay, so I think that this is the final exam. And, yeah, if you pass this, then you basically graduate the Arcanum. Before you sits a council of examiners, some familiar faces and a few new ones. You are excited to begin your thesis. It is highly irregular to allow a thesis demonstration after only a couple semesters, but your recommendation from Cynthia and Professor Alonso could not be ignored. But bear in mind, a failure will mean that you will have to wait at least 3 years to try again. No exceptions. Are you prepared to continue? You bet your buns he's ready! You resist the urge to bring the balm to your face. Yes. I have heard much about you as well, Sylvan. Quite the strong spirit you are. Adept Aiden is quite lucky to have your bond. Sylvan turns a subtle shade of red, something you did not know was possible. Yes, this is all well and nice, but I would like to remind everyone of the incident in my classroom involving Aiden. Well, then it's a good thing that his thesis is creating an artifact instead of summoning a demon, isn't it, Professor Quibbly? Professor Quibbly looks like he's chewing on gravel, and abstains from a reply. Now then, Adept Aiden, what materials do you require for your artifact? He needs 200 pounds of gold and 50 of silver, an even ton of obsidian and half of a Walton white marble, 1 grade AA power core or equivalent yellow crystal. He also requires 100 pounds of copper, but doubts that he will use all of it. Oh, and 5 ounces of platinum. Professor Quibbly's eyebrows move more than he would have thought possible for such a stoic face. Even Headmaster Kathios has trouble concealing his surprise. Oh, is that all? Outrageous, simply outrageous. It is one thing to allow an adept of a few semesters to waste our time with a thesis, but it is quite another to put that expensive request before us. Your concerns are noted, Professor Quibbly, but he has proven himself to be quite the accomplished artificer. The seeking stone he made will provide high value to this institution and should even be able to quickly replenish most of the materials he's requesting. Furthermore, even if he fails, the expensive raw materials will simply be extracted from the resulting object. I understand there are some risks, but I see no reason to deny his request. And I don't know about you, but I'm quite curious to find out what he has in mind. Clearly not winning this battle, Professor Quibbly collects his composure and contents himself with a slight shake of his head. Now then, this testing facility is equipped with a teleportation artifact built into its floor. This not only serves to provision materials, but also to send away harmful byproducts. Like last year and the lava incident. Quite right. Anyway, your materials will arrive shortly from the quartermaster. When they do, proceed at your leisure. As if on cue, a neat pile of the requested materials appears on the floor before you. Above it appears a hologram of what you assume is the quartermaster. He points to his eyes with 2 fingers, and then quickly to yours. The image then disappears in a wisp of smoke. You get the message. Best not screw this up. So you're like using all of your skills that you've learned from the classes, which is cool. There's sometimes where I'm like, I'm pretty sure I got that. But then it like doesn't go away and I'm like, what did I do wrong? At least I passed though. You are exhausted from the effort but feel a profound sense of joy and relief at your success. Before everyone sits a large sphere with a somewhat similar appearance to the Seeker Stone you created earlier. The metal circumnavigates the sphere in a complex network-like pattern. The obsidian swirls together with the white marble. The entire device emits a faint glow and a soft hum. Even Professor Quibbly fails to conceal his awe at your creation. Well, at the very least, we now have a gorgeous statue for the entry hall. But I think what is on everyone's mind is what it does exactly. This is what Aiden calls the index. Anyone have a book handy? Why, yes, I have a copy of Working with the Flames, Practical Approach to Fire Weaving. Perfect! Hundreds of tendrils of light shoot their way out of the index and... I think she uses the keywords in her book. And then hundreds of tendrils of light shoot their way out of the index and point in a variety of directions. One particularly thick tendril points directly toward the book that Professor Alontu is holding. It searches for written text and shows the locations of the best matches. Its range should be about the size of the Arcanum. Aiden thought it would be a perfect addition to the library. Neat, huh? There's a long silence as everyone stares at the index. You see more than a couple open mouths. Headmaster Cathio seems lost for words. The silence is broken by an older examiner in the back. You think you recognize her as the head librarian. You hope she has gotten over the water-related incident. My God! This would revolutionize our collective search for knowledge. We have undergone countless reorganization systems over the years, with each librarian thinking they have a better system. With how many books and scrolls we have, the result is quite frankly a disorganized mess. This changes all of that. So many lost works would now be at our fingertips, not to mention the massive reduction in time spent searching for relevant information. The woman trails off deep in thought, probably contemplating all the implications. Everyone's collective gaze returns to the index. You do believe that you've just graduated. Yeah, I got last. Yeah, I definitely could have done better on that. I was definitely feeling like I did not do as well as I could have. I might come back and do that later just to like prove myself that I'm better than last place. But I think we'll go ahead and stop there for now. Now that we've kind of made it through the first part of the game. And thank you so much for joining me. And I'll probably be playing this again tomorrow night. So I hope to see you there. Bye.